Here's another company with a problem. Wind and Shade Software makes a wildly popular distributed weather forecasting app. They're getting ready to build version 3, a major upgrade from last year's version 2. But the whole company remembers the problems that plagued the 2.0 release. In the first meeting after the version 2 launch, all of the different groups involved spent hours blaming each other for the problems. The product team was unhappy that they didn't get to test the app sufficiently before it was almost time to launch, so it went out with bugs and bad performance problems. Version 2 is substantially slower than version 1. The ops team was unhappy because when they finally received the app to be deployed in production, they found out that it used significantly different software than version 1. Not all of the dependencies were well documented. There were also OS-specific issues because the developers were using Windows, while the production servers were running Linux. And the performance problems meant that they had to stay up all weekend deploying new servers to handle the load. It turned out the devs had never tested it with more than 5 simultaneous users. And the dev team had been struggling with deadlines. In order to make their own process faster, they were maintaining their own dev server instances without involvement from ops. But their setup ended up being so complicated that whenever they hired a new developer, it was nearly impossible to give that person a consistent setup, especially when they tried following ops' suggestion of using Linux, which they didn't know that well. So in the run-up to version 3, they'd really like to avoid another painful debacle like the version 2 launch was. But just pointing fingers and laying blame just isn't going to help. So the teams get together and try to find some practical solutions they can agree on to fix these problems. Which of the following solutions do you think might help Wind and Shade's launch trouble? Should they use agile development practices? Should they run production servers using the dev's desktop OS? Should they involve the ops team earlier in development? Should they implement a suite of performance tests? Should they buy some faster server hardware to make the app faster? Should they make smaller incremental launches instead of big ones? Or should they require the devs to only use technologies that have been vetted at the start of the project?